I don't think there isn't an agenda, we're just here on RV Park race.
Yeah.
Whenever you're ready.
We call the meeting over.
No, we wait.
Well, wait for you.
Thank you. We'll open up the workshop. It is 3:14. What is the date today? 8th, April 8th. Apologize, I had a death in the family and I'm spacing a lot of stuff, so.
So I think most of us look at the, our list, our product list,
Yeah.
and a lot of us come up with numbers. Where all the RV parks are basically equal. The only thing that changes, we're gonna how many units they have on full hookups. And then I also, I don't know if you break it one of these.
Left one there.
And I also made some phone calls to where, because Patterson's wanted a meter to be read. So I called these various cities and got what their base rates were. Most of them, how many gallons they get per base rate, and then what they charge over the base rate. And it's, so we need to also establish where our base rate is going to be for our meters.
Okay.
Daryl, is yours readable, your meter that you guys have? Yeah. It is? Okay. So, Gold Rush also has a meter in already. If we wanted to read both meters. So then they would, the RV parks would be all equal. Do you want to know what numbers we came up with monthly?
Yeah.
You're talking about our list as far as item.
The item list, so I went through, so I don't know what everybody else did, I went through the list. I have all three RV park invoices. Patterson's asked that they were treated equal. So I went down and they all are under the same base rate. And the only thing that really changes for all of them is how many actual hookups they have, full hookups.
What's the base rate?
The sewer base rate is, for light commercial, is 18. The high dump station, the high on the dump stations is 22. The land use is 10. And then the laundry shower buildings are 28. So that gives them all $78. And then it just changes by how many hookups they have.
Okay.
The Pattersons have one full hookup, is how I figured it. They have a commercial building, and then one full hookup. Gold Rush has 6 full hookups, and Sumter RV has 15. And that's how I figured it.
And those are all full lookups.
Yeah.
Okay, now doesn't Sumter already have their own well?
Right, we're not charging, this is just on sewer.
This is the sewer.
This is just sewer. We have flat, and our commercial rate for water is $46.50. And yes, Center RV has their own well. So what I did is I have, just so you know where my numbers are, I have Patterson's have one RV hookup, full hookup, outbuildings technically, so their sewer would be 8360. Gold Rush, they have 6 at 660, which is 117.60. And Sumter RV is at 177. That's what came with my numbers, but that's how I figured it. We all figured it differently, I think, so.
We're $1 different on the, Whistle Stone, I have 84.60, what do you mean?
Oh, maybe I added wrong. Well, I charged, did you charge them 560 or 660?
Oh, I went 660 in that because there's just one that's 560.
Yeah, because there's no outbuilding.
Yeah.
So that's what I came up with.
Yeah, I got that one too.
Anybody have any other way to look at this?
So the water's how much?
46.
Well, we're not doing water. we're
Well,
doing
the
sewer.
base rate for water is 46.50
For all?
for commercial, for all of them.
Okay.
I have them all the same. The only difference is how many hookups. And so the only difference is gonna be is we have to have on our base rate for water, we have to know for 46.50 how many gallons they get. And since the whole city is going to eventually be on meters, this would be a good time to decide that now and just get it set in place.
Well, once we get the water towers and all of that up, they will come in and suggest to us what our base rate
Right.
should be then to
But our
to
base
pay
rate,
for all that.
our base rate is pretty high for what, some of the other towns are. I don't think we're gonna have to change it much at, what we're at now.
Are these gallon packages, are they commercial or?
They're straight across the board.
Really?
Yes, the only one that broke them down at all, well, they all broke it down, but they just broke it down to how many gallons people used over their 8,000. Nobody broke it to commercial and residential. It's a flat base rate, and it goes from Haynes, just so everybody here would know, NISA, they have a base rate of 32.50, and they give you 1,000 gallons for your 32.50. And everything, every 1,000 over is $2.35, which that's, and then you got Haynes, I did not get their base rate, I'm sorry. They'll give you 10,000 gallons for your base rate, but they charge you 25 cents per every 100 over that.
Per 100, not
Per 100. So there's a real fluctuation. I mean, the base rates go from 1,000 to 10,000 gallons. John Day does 4,000 gallons. Mount Vernon does 5,000. So we just need to figure out where is a fair amount of gallons. I think 1,000 is a little too little. And I think 10,000 is too much.
Most of your averages that I've looked at seem pretty.
Yeah. I mean, I actually was thinking 45 and
And what they
terror
do
people.
in the winter places, what they do is they come up with an average from like May 1st to November 1st. They average out what you use for water. So that in the winter time, because we have to drip our water, you pay that average that you paid for the summer and you pay for the winter. So you're not basically meter red in the winter time because everybody has to drip water around here or our pipes will freeze. So they do an average is how they get by on the winter on some of these places.
So, yeah, I mean, I like the number 4,500, but
What is the state figure a family of four uses?
depends on the family of four, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah. Base.
I didn't call the state, I just called the other cities that are actually reading meters.
Um,
Because as you can see, everybody's setting their own. I mean, there's such a large range of what they're charging. But I think we need it, I like to see it reasonable so people aren't getting stuck with, the residents aren't getting stuck with a really high extra.
So do you like the 3-tiered system?
Mm-mm.
Or just a flat, I mean, once you do the 4,500, it's a flat fee for anything above that instead of the 3-tiered?
Vail's the only one that tried to make it kind of complicated.
Well, the actual level 50K.
Yeah,
Baker's 3-tier.
are they? They didn't give me 3-tier, okay. But I mean, it just seems for us, counting wise, if we did X amount of gallons and then decide how much we want to charge over those gallons, that would be good to go when the meters come in. And obviously, it's all subject to change once everything else, if we're under what we need once the water towers come in.
So if we give all of our residents and commercial people 4,500 gallons,
Right,
right?
Yeah.
And then, and that's gonna be, the only thing that's gonna differ now is the base rates, we're gonna keep them separate.
keep the same, well, I would set a base rate, yeah.
Are you gonna set as, like these other cities, they just got a base rate period? Are you gonna do we wanna set a base rate for everybody, or do you wanna keep the commercial?
Straight across the board.
I do straight across the board once we get it all set up.
Island City figures 101.5 gallons a day per person usage.
That all flushes your toilet once.
Depends on if you got a water figure or not.
It's a gallon, that's a gallon
Yeah.
per flush. Otherwise, it's a gallon and a half.
Most of our residences here are population of 2 average. So, if you use that, this is a guideline, each household's using a little over 6,000 gallons a month.
No way.
That's what they figured. Water district.
Who? You said Portland? Portland's it's not a good comparison.
Well, it doesn't matter what city you're in.
Yeah, it does.
It does in
Some of
Portland,
those are union
Yeah.
employees, and they make a heck of a lot more.
I'm not looking at prices, I'm just trying to find how many gallons people use.
Well, in NISA, under their schedule of $32.50 per 1,000 and $235 per 1,000 after that, if we charged them our base rate of $46.50, you'd get an extra 6,000 gallons, so a total of 7,000 for the month for the same amount we're charging. And we don't know what the additions are for Huntington, Mitchell,
No,
Bonnie, do we?
I didn't call them.
Or Mount Vernon? And Baker, you get 2,300 for free?
That's what the gal told me, but Daryl says their
So you have the base, you
Yeah.
get to so much per,
Yeah, and I didn't get their base.
and then after that, the next 3,000 gallons, it's like $3 per 1,000 gallons.
Yeah,
And
yeah, well,
then when you go, what is it, 5 to 15,000 gallons, then it's 4 cents, and then anything over 15,000 gallons, 5 cents.
That's Baker?
Yeah.
But we don't know what the base rate,
Yeah,
I think it's around 30
I
something.
didn't get that.
and they got it at 250 a thousand on this sheet.
Yeah, 250 a thousand was what.
Okay, federal website says the average usage is 138 gallons per household
Per day.
per day, so that equals 4,140 gallons. A lot.
So at the 45, we're there.
Yeah,
It's a good base.
I mean,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I think it's a fair
Well, the thing is,
base.
though, this is just the starting point, because once everything gets dialed in with the water side, then we can figure out what we gotta do to make the adjustments.
I don't know that we'll have to make adjustments. But yeah, I
We
think,
don't know.
no, 4,500 to me would be reasonable for everybody.
And then we'll just cut our commercial rates to the same. 44.50. So that way we have one flat rate, or you're gonna raise the residents on average.
Well, that would, like you say, once you get the tower in, that would be what the adjustment would be.
But as of right now, we need to set, we gotta set it.
Well, we need to set it, yeah. Well, right now, our commercial is at 46.50, and we only have, we're only gonna be reading meters, and I would just start at 46.50. And that's what everybody's gonna have to be at once we get our meters in.
Well,
No,
I could,
not my decision total, so.
well, the thing that I'm looking at is if you make everybody, including commercial, 44.50, and you go to 4,500 gallons, because you're gonna make it up, which we haven't discussed yet, the fee for per thousand thereafter, because the residential people, or the commercial people, they use over that. Because if you're saying it's 41 to 4,200 gallons for 2 people, your restaurants and stuff like that are gonna use more than that, supposedly. You know,
The
along with your hotels and stuff. So you're gonna make it the difference on the water you're selling the water per thousand. Whatever you decide to do on that part, right?
Yeah.
So I would bring
Bring those down,
the commercial back down to 44.50
okay.
as a standard,
reasonable, yeah.
because we're gonna make it up on the other end.
Yeah, most of them I looked at on additional around 2.5 cents, or $2.50 to $3 per thousand.
Greg, you're saying it's 100 gallons per person per day.
Well, that was what the first one was that I looked up, Island City.
No, what they figure people use.
Yeah, that's what Island City's figures
What?
are, but the federal US average is 60 per person per day.
Okay, at 100, 2 people, 200 gallons a day, times 30 days, 2,400 gallons, isn't it?
100.
Or 2,400.
Yeah, 2,000.
See, and with what Mark was saying, that falls in line for what I know, because when Sherry and I have our tank pumped, it's 1,000 gallon tank. We have it pumped. It's dry. We have laundry, we're cooking, we're doing dishes, we're taking showers, and you're flushing the toilet. It takes anywhere from 3 to 3.5 weeks before the tank is full. That's 1,000 gallons. So you only got a week and a half left of the month. So you're only pushing 2,000 gallons a month at best. And that's doing laundry
That's gonna
Her, she
take
does
bath
that.
once a week.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah, not many people go camping with us longer.
Yeah. So. But yeah, that's,
Well, 60 gallons a day is 3,600. And then, why are we doing this thing for the let it drip? Why can't people get heat tapes and insulate their houses and do things like that? That's not our responsibility.
because some of the places Martin freezes up in the street, which is the city's problem, because it freezes up on this side of the meter, not on the other side of the meter.
We're not the only city that does that.
We had sewer lines freezing up this year,
Mm-hmm.
for the first year ever.
It's weird. It was
Maybe they froze up solid.
Sounds like defective engineer.
Amen.
So do we like 4,500 gallons, or do we want to change it?
It's a starting place.
I mean, that's for the businesses, it gives them,
Pretty decent.
I think that's fair.
for the businesses, it gives them a good base. You know.
Now, are we gonna have meters for these?
Well,
RV
eventually we are. We only have 2 meters in town right now. And the meter, they're getting ready to survey for meters. So but if we're gonna do this, and as Charlie said, if we're gonna do the 4,500, we will bring the RV parks down to a different base of 4,450 now, because they're gonna be the first ones to get their meters.
Because out of all 3 parks, there's only 2 meters that need to be read, and that'd be Gold Rush and maybe
John
Whistle
wants,
Stop.
John wants his meters read, so if this is what we're gonna set for our meters, we are going to bring it down to what the base will be for everybody,
And that's,
4,450 is what the residential pays.
well, what do the other RV park owners think?
They're not a pole.
They're here.
Okay, well, let's ask them.
What do we think about the 4,500?
Yeah.
It's not relevant for us.
They're on a well.
Sounds
Think it's
reasonable.
fair for us to speak up about it?
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean,
It's not, it sounds reasonable.
and they're okay with it.
The 4,050 for how much?
For the 4,500 gallons to start, and then whatever you guys decide on the 10,000 after that.
For how much per month base?
4,450.
It's not 4,650, okay.
Well, that's what we were saying, we were trying to find one flat base that everybody will be on.
It'll be commercial and residential.
And if we're going to start reading just the 2, but we need to change it to be correct now.
What's our tier gonna be?
How much we pay.
Yeah, but what price are we gonna, how are we gonna tier it? We're gonna do one set tier, so much for the one set.
I would recommend just doing a one set, so much per thousand.
It's,
Because it'll, you know, as far as residential and business, it'll all even out. But it's like, where do you want to be on that?
well, they're pretty much at what, 250 per thousand, 235 per thousand.
Except for Vail.
Yeah, Vale's just,
You know, they got a lot more yard.
Well, they have.
well,
big
and they,
businesses.
they, give you more base, 8,000 gallon starting. It's
What
not
do you
set in
think,
stone.
John?
I'm waiting to see what the final total is. And I don't want my reader med, I want the city to get in line with the rest of the United States and read their meters. It's not just me wanting my meter read. The fair thing to do is charge us the base rate and you read the meter, and if you go over, it, you pay so much.
That's
That
what-
way we would know what to charge for water.
Well, that's what I do.
I know, but you said John wants his meter read.
Well, I mean, sorry,
Okay, thank you.
you're the only one that we're putting a meter in right now. You know,
I'm the new guy.
The last.
not picking on you.
The last set of meters that we got, or last
Mhm.
citywide meters that we got were supposed to have been able to been read, but we kind of got bamboozled on the project, and those meters were on their way out. That's why we got such a good deal on them, and we can't get programs or anything for them. So we got meters that can be read, but they'd have to be read. open enough.
Manually, yeah.
Yeah, and they weren't supposed to be that way, but that's, because the program was on its way out, that's the way it ended up, so. With this upgrade, part of that project is put meters in, so. As long as we can get our standoffs and everything, then.
So,
So where do we want to be on per thousand over?
See, I would think that we should start out at almost 75 per thousand.
More at 235,000.
How much?
175 per thousand.
Oh, I thought you said per gallon.
We're in it for the money.
Yeah.
There we go.
And I like a little, I was at 2, so I $1.75 or 2, I would prefer.
Two?
Well, one or the other, I mean, it's only 25 cents. Martin.
What?
What would you see for a base, or for a price per gallon, per 1,000?
for the first 1,000,
No,
Anything
for-
over 45.
per 1,000.
Yeah.
Wow. I'd say $2 would be reasonable.
That's good, it's an average between the two.
Seems reasonable. Yeah,
That
I'd go for it.
reasonable?
Girl?
Yeah, I think $2 would be
Okay.
reasonable.
Just check with both you guys. So we would, 4,500 gallons would be the base, and anything over that would be $2 per thousand. And everybody would be the base price of $44.50 once all the meters get in.
Well, the thing is though, is now, if we're going to read John's meter and we're going to read Daryl's meter, then we can drop their price.
Yeah, that's true, yeah, that's,
To the 44, because he's brand new.
yeah.
We ain't got a set rate, so we'll still. We'll fix it right now. On the beginning.
Okay.
Say that again.
Daryl and Luann, they have an RV park, they got their meter. We're gonna put in a meter for John, they're the only ones that need to be metered as of right now. So John being brand new, he can be at the 44.50 instead of at the 46.50. And then Daryl and Luann, we can drop their rate down. And we'll just start it at 45, and we'll set it to where 4,500 gallons. And then thereafter, it's $2.
And who's paying for those 2 meters?
John's paying for the one. They already have theirs.
Okay,
Yeah.
then when we get the meters for our new improved phantasmagoric system, do they have to pay for a new meter?
It's in the grant.
It's in the grant.
It's in the grant.
They should just screw to the base or the setter, right?
Yeah. If that meter comes out and the new meter goes in, then everybody's on readable meters with one. Whatever.
Should just come right to the office, I think.
We're hoping so. We gotta see what they wanna use for a
You should be able to
program.
shut it off and on from in there too. Power company can. Shut off your meter from paper.
There's one program that's being used out there that a couple of cities said it's not a good program for electronics, so be sure we aren't using that one.
So what about seasonal? Now we're trying to save money.
Well.
You guys
Just
pay,
like Marcia, didn't you say you're gonna average out May through November or something, the highest use?
Well, that's what some of the other towns do when they have to drip the water. They take those summer seasons, they average what it is, and that's what you pay in the winter for each month, so that you can drip your water. Because they would rather do that than have all the pipes in town freeze up. And you're not watering lawn, and you probably won't be using more than the 4,500 in the winter anyway. You don't have outdoor watering to do. But it just,
That's what I said.
Say something, but
what was, there's something else I was thinking. So I don't know if you guys wanna charge them the same in the winter, the base rate of the 40, it doesn't matter, the base rate, you still dripping water, but.
Base rate's the base rate, and that doesn't change.
But I don't want people, going, oh my word, I'm gonna go over 4,500 gallons and I wanna drip my
I wonder
water.
if you could do that dripping.
The thing is though,
Some people do a finger.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
my way of thinking is though, is as of right now, if we're making the 44.50 is what we're making in the city today, and we're not metering water and everybody runs water, why don't we just say that starting in whenever we have, come up with a frozen month. November's a good one. You better have your water running by November. So you're not gonna read meters, say November the 1st, and you're just gonna pay the base rate of 44.50. That's pretty simple. Because the city's making their money to carry the water, you know, for the chlorine and everything that we gotta do in the guys' labor.
Just don't read it in winter.
Just say from, yeah, but you gotta have a month that you're gonna stop it. So I would say like November, because now it's cold enough, or you can go into October and say October, November, December, January, February, we're just now coming out of it in March, April.
Yeah, I don't start doing water until October is usually when we start getting a little bit of snow.
Well, you gotta have a time, because the people in the residence are gonna wanna know when we're gonna quit reading meters and when you're going to start reading meters. So you need to start and stop. So it's set for the city.
well, if it's electronic, I mean, once we get a new system, it's gonna automatically read every month. Right now, we have to do it manually.
Well, what I'm saying though is if
They don't have to worry about it.
if somebody decides to run their water a little longer because it's cold, and you start reading the meters will be read.
I mean, just in case it goes over.
So what I'm saying though is if you put in there, we're not gonna count water until we get to here, and now we're gonna count water.
You catch up in April.
Yeah.
If they went over, it's just like the power company, once a year you get a catch-up bill if you're on average. Same thing.
They kind of question.
Yeah, there's two good things to that. You'll still have the meters, and if you have a leak anywhere, you'll have an indication by a spike in water usage, which will help the guys. But on the other side, you just disregard that if you're just going with base rate. But you'll still know if you have a leak. My mom had a $500 bill show up because she had a water leak over the winter.
I have a question. Let's say somebody says, turn my water off for the winter. Now, because it's turned off, does that mean the frost gods don't freeze their pipes? Or does somebody go in there and let them drip?
They've actually done both, Martin. Normally though, if they come in, a lot of people will have their water turned off, and then they call the plumber in and have their house or trailer or whatever it is winterized, so they drain the system.
I set that building up, I can blow it out.
But
Similar we are.
you just got done telling me that it freezes out in the street sometimes.
Yeah, that's what I was just, what I was thinking,
So what do you do then?
because I'm gonna be in a pipe.
I really, for the years that I've been here, I haven't heard of the pipes freezing up and breaking. The pipes freeze up, and they freeze up right at the meter on one side or the other. The guys now are using different insulation to insulate the pipes, so that may help. the pipes don't break, then you don't have this issue. I mean, we did, well, we had that main 3 years ago, that broke up in Gaisleyville up there, that 6-inch main that froze and broke. That was a big deal.
And that one at Laramie's was just a truck running over sauce plant. Remember what Laramie's flooded Laramie 2 years ago, last year or so?
So we're not worried about if people unhook the water or turn off the water at their houses.
The city policy is if you unhook it, you pay full bore. When you get it hooked back up, you pay $300 or $400.
That's right.
It almost, the disconnect fee is almost equal to leaving it on. And that's what you're gonna get with almost everybody now, because nobody wants to lose 1/10 of a cent on anything. So,
But if people know about that, a lot of people are just used to turning it off. So, you know, that becomes a problem. If it freezes out in the street, I guess it freezes out there. Who fixes it? We or the owner?
If it's on this side of the meter, we fix it. If it's on the other side of the meter, they fix it.
Never heard of anyone here that's shut their water off. The water in the street is froze up.
That's what I say, I haven't heard of it.
I have.
I've heard of the water freezing, because down there at the Scoop and Steamer, that one that goes underneath the road, it's froze on one side or the other, because they didn't drip water. They're trying to use water, so the lines froze up. So then we bring out the so-called welding machine and ground it out and keep the line up, because it's a metal line, and we get it to thaw out. Drop the pipe off.
I think what you'll find out will happen when you get meters, people will probably stop dripping as much if they go over their, you owe us $60 because you dripped your faucet, so the city wouldn't freeze up, and they're gonna go, and they're not gonna drip, or not gonna drip as much. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Well, that's what I said.
So you're gonna have more problems with that.
That's why I said if we can come up with a date saying November the 1st, we ain't happy with what the water is. We can pay attention to it, but we ain't charging you for anything over. And then once you figure out when you want it, and every year is different, to be able to say, we're going to turn the water, you're going to start paying for metered water. So I mean, that's the only way, that's the only fair way to do it for everybody.
Because you're asking us or whatever, the citizens, to pay to protect the city's infrastructure.
Right.
Is what that's what that amounts to, really.
But like I said, I mean, and every year is different, because we've had years where we've had no snow and we've been below 0. This is a problem.
Well, and even though the ground's warming up on top, that freeze keeps going.
Yeah.
For a while, how much is that? So,
And this, a lot of it's just due to pipes and heat line.
so May 1st to November 1st would be the.
Well, we go down to flat rate November through February, and then,
You better go farther than 50.
Yeah, I think you guys did.
We need to drip. Yeah, on a year, but we need to drip. By the April anyway.
I would say, because it's like, it's,
end of March.
March, yeah.
So then, okay, and I assume there's no problem with people like Van creating an ice sculpture out there.
Well, he's running water full bore when he does that.
I know.
Yeah, so we have to put a restriction on that. That's not dripping, that's running full bore.
is he using city water for that?
His pipe runs across the grid. So he has to have his water running that feeds his outside spigot, so.
Maybe a little cost effective, but insulate the pipe,
It's insulated. It's still.
or put a heat pipe on it or something.
Yeah, heat tape inside the insulation.
Yeah, how are you gonna do that? There's no power.
But, can we tie into it though, because, can we tie into it from the subdivision?
If you wanna go under the road.
Gets rid of the freezing problem. I'm surprised DEQ hasn't nailed,
Yeah, it's illegal to dump fluorinated.
because they're dumping fluorinated water in the creek.
Mm-hmm.
no.
I think that is just going up.
If I did that as a gold miner, I'd be.
Yeah, it was.
But you'd save a lot of money. Wouldn't waste it on gold mining.
That's the issue we can deal with, yes, but, so what dates then?
November to March.
This new system we're getting, are the pipes plastic or metal or what are they? I'll bet they're plastic.
I bet they're plastic for up above.
Most of it's all PEX now, and if it's all PEX, then it can freeze and it won't.
Can you use PEX for municipality, Kenny? Can you?
That stuff's amazing.
So, you wanna go from November the 1st to March 30th?
Mhm.
I guess if that's the case, and when that happens, we can, let them shut it off or whatever, because they're gonna freeze on our side of the meter.
Yeah, I'll figure it out now.
March 31st. There's 31 days in March.
Oh, sorry. Why don't we just, why don't you go from November 1st to April 1st? That way everything's done on the 1st.
Well, except if you say April 1st, and April 1st could be your free day.
You joking?
That'd be an April Fool's joke.
That's April. That's why I smile. Okay. Any other concerns concerning fees, usage?
So what was the total for water and sewer?
For you?
Yeah.
Sewer was 8360, and then your water will be 44. So it's 128.
What about the camp host? You're only charging for the
charging-
office,
I'm charging, well,
so you're not,
I'm charging him one hookup.
At 560, not 660.
The camp
yeah, one
host-
hookup at 560 and then the base rate of the 44.50, and what about the laundry?
It's in there, $28.
Laundry
What'd you come up with
showers,
for
laundry
water?
showers.
What'd you come up with water then?
28.
That's it?
This is the base rate.
No. Well, no, the 44.50 is the base rate,
For water.
the water, and then you have the shower.
The shower's on
The
the
shower's
sewer
on
side,
sewer.
sewer side.
All of that stuff's on the sewer side.
Okay, sorry.
There ain't nothing on the water side.
So you
That's
don't
what we're talking
charge,
Do
you
you want me to
don't,
go over what I have?
So what you're asking.
so you got 44.50 plus 660,
about. No, 560.
560. Is
Because,
that year round?
well, at the moment, yes, because everybody's year round.
Okay.
So what was the total?
That's what, 5110, isn't it? Yeah. You gotta do 44.50, the base rate,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're adding 560 to it for the camp host,
No, the
Water.
4450 is just water.
just water.
The camp host, we don't have, if you look at the water fee,
Okay.
we don't
That's
have,
all on sewer.
it's all on sewer.
Sewer.
Yeah,
A water fee is 4450.
it's just straight across. The only place where the camp host comes in
Is
is
the
on the
sewer.
sewer side,
And that's fine.
That's where
and that's
everything.
It's
560.
six.
560.
So what is the total for water and sewer?
128.10.
128.10.
Do you want me to go over the list? I can make you copy.
No.
I have it.
You have, I mean, you've got the, you know it.
Yeah, we went through light commercial at 18, a dump station of 22, land use at 10, laundry shower 28, which totaled 78, and $5.60 for the one full hookup got us to 83.60 plus 44.50 is 128.10.
And those same charges The 18, 22, 28 is on all three of the armed cars. Just one missing. On the sewer side.
And we need to correct theirs on their residents.
Right,
too.
we need to, their statements need to be changed a little. Because you've got commercial on,
The house and.
yeah, it's, but
Yeah.
we'll sit down and get that, because it's just, everything's intermixed.
And so the 650 or 560 a month per hookup.
Mhm.
And there are, what, 6 hookups at yours?
Well, it's different, Martin. John's at 560 because he has no outbuildings, permanent outbuildings. He just has one commercial building. The other two RV parks have an outbuilding. So on their schedule, it's 660.
And all or more.
So number of hookups doesn't matter.
Yes, it
It's
does.
660
It's
per.
660 times,
6.
Gold Rush has 6,
Yes.
and
For the other one.
Sumter RV has 15. Right? 15,
so.
yeah.
That's what it is.
So they'll be 660 times 6,
Yeah.
15 times.
Okay, is that,
Are we people happy?
we're fine.
Yeah, with mine.
So now we can do a meeting? And we need to vote on this?
So I have a question.
I think you could do that.
Special session.
Okay, special session, but do we want to do that?
Tuesday.
Well, Martin's got a question, so.
When are we gonna go through all these other rates that are really screwed up?
Well, everybody's gonna change as soon as hopefully the meters get in.
I know, but there are people that are out of compliance with our sewer ordinance and our water ordinance, and they seem to be getting charged for one thing and not for another. And I'm not talking about the RV.
No, this is,
I
well,
mean, we have people who have a business that aren't charged for having a business.
like Martin, if you see it, go ahead, mark it up and we look at it.
I haven't got that much ink. I'll do that.
So also, I'll tell you right now, I'm okay with it. It's better than 250 or 900. But, so I'm paying more than both of the bars. And they're open 12 months out of the year. And you're losing money. Let's put it that way. If this is the way it's gonna be, you need to go through everyone in town, every commercial business in town, and adjust their rates.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, I agree. There is a lot of rates that need to be adjusted. But is it gonna be done today?
No, I'm not saying today.
I mean, this is a long-term workable program. We got to, and that's what I say. But we did this specifically for you guys, so everybody's good to go. You know what to do for your rates. But yes, there's a lot of people that are not being charged right. But it's gonna take a lot of legwork to get it figured out.
See, the
And
thing is,
right now, we have some other things that we really have to address for this city to get all our grants. We've got to get, our grant money has to be our priority. I spent days on this, but now we've got to get back to grants.
and see, and I think that the restaurants, the bars, and the hotel, because of what we just did here, John, once they get a meter and they start being read, the city's going to start making it up on the water end of it. That's the way that I see it. Wherever this 4,500 is, you know.
I have that same list, I know there's stuff. But we have to pick what we're gonna really put our time to, one by one by one.
Well, it all
At
goes
least I do.
back to the.
I'm not trying to be a hard ass. You can go tell everybody anything you want about me. I don't care. Y'all know that by now. But fair is fair, and the city is losing money at that
And for
mentality.
myself, I think you need an answer from me. I'm not speaking for council, for me, yes, it needs to be adjusted,
Mhm.
but it's gonna take some time. It's not gonna happen overnight.
Well, once we get the grant, we get the water tower going, all this is gonna fall into place. We can look at all of those and start adjusting and all fall into place. They'll start paying their fair share on the water with meters.
Yeah.
But we can start looking at them, adjusting them now, bit by bit.
It's been, the last 3 years have been a long process, you know, there's been so many issues that have been neglected for years. The hard part is prioritizing what we gotta tackle first. And sometimes it's just because the issue came up like this, you know, we had to address that first. So, it is a process, and we've made a lot of progress, but sometimes it feels like we haven't made a damn thing. You know, there's just so many issues, so, one bite at a time. So this is one that should have been taken care of a long time ago. We finally got it done. You know, now it's on our radar to take care of everything else, but to work in conjunction with our water and sewer projects. So that is dictating and we have to address it, but now we can address it because we have this being done and it needs to be addressed. Things need to be adjusted and updated once we know what we need to charge to pay for this. And we're getting there. We're getting there. So I think we're done with the workshop. All right. Close the workshop, and it is 4:04. 4:06.
Just a second. Stop one and start again.
I will open the special session, April 8th, it is 4:06. Special session to,
The packet's right there.
yeah.
You gotta do the pledge.
Greg.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we had solicited for submittals for our water grant administrator. And we've got Jesse Steve.
Yes, because one said no, they weren't interested.
Proposals. So we will go ahead and open these. This is from Farallon Consulting LLC, Baker City.
you know, price in there somewhere?
Well, I'm thinking this here is something different. Behavioral
Oh,
health housing.
I didn't open it. I thought it came from consulting.
Yeah, so
Oh,
this
so that
is,
isn't even, so we only got one bid.
well, now let's look at this other, they have another envelope here, so. And there's nothing in it.
So, Lisa, could you send it to Pico and
Northwest Oregon
Northwest Oregon, and they
and-
didn't respond
no,
at all, so.
there were four. I sent it to 4 different companies.
So we have one. Yeah, this is entirely different. So
Just came in the mail.
we have one from Nick Cody's.
Oh, you need copies for it?
Okay.
Okay, so on the back page, he has his rates. Or page 6.
Page 6.
Yep.
Rates $125 an hour for grant administration, and $135 for environmental review services. Expectation of working nights and weekends to complete this work by the September timeline, in addition to the CDBG application. Service grant administration, excuse me, $125 an hour. Proposed $20,000 is a not to exceed figure. The environmental review is $135 an hour with a proposed not to exceed figure of $17,500. He has $2 million professional liability insurance. General liability is $2 million and $1 million.
This is on the front end or back end on the grants. Is the grant covered?
Yeah. Well, we know he works hard for us.
He's done a good job for us getting grants.
And he's still
Yeah,
working.
he's been doing all of it, doing it for free.
Yeah, he's still working it.
This is good from the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been in a couple of meetings.
Everything else on the previous pages is experience, history of the firm.
I was doing the daily home.
Yeah, examples of projects that they have done. Different cities, listing the different types of services that they have provided. Page 6, he lists his staff. A little bit of history of their experience, education.
What's the grant we're supposed to follow again?
What was that?
Dollar amount on the grant.
On our grant
Yeah.
for the water, 2.6 million.
But for this design phase, it's
Oh, yeah,
486,000.
yeah, for the design phase, yeah,
So is this proposed fee for 2.6,
well, this is for the first phase.
which is
486.
The first what, Linda?
The first phase, then they come to do the engineering, surveying, that type of thing. And then we have to have that done, the environmental done that by September, which then it goes in for the rest of, we have to file for the rest of the money.
And will that be an additional fee then?
No, that's all part of this.
It's all,
Okay, that's
yeah,
what,
it's all,
so this is for the whole Marianne?
yeah, this is.
Okay, that's what I was asking. Okay.
Okay, let's hear, this is, good description here. Our team consists of Nicholas, Courtney, and Kelly. Nicholas and Courtney serve as project managers and funding specialists. Kelly works as a technical writer and quality assurance, quality control, work products, copy edits, and assists with work product development. Our team has clear and specific roles on this project. Nicholas will handle the day-to-day administration of the grant, primary drafter of the environmental review and communication between project partners. Kelly will serve as QC, aid with budget tracking, report drafting, and copy editing. Courtney can serve as backup project manager and specializes in payroll review, technical writing, grant requirements, and project budgeting. So they're providing a 3-person team.
So
Courtney Winter?
is this just for engineering and surveying 2.6? Or are they doing some work?
They're starting their survey and there's a 480,000 part of the grant. And then they'll be the rest, the whole grant is 2.6.
What are you doing with it? What all are you accomplishing?
The total new water.
Tank?
And
2 tanks.
2 tanks, all meters, some piping,
The generator,
generator.
the pump
I
road.
can bring this one. I can bring
And then
this
also
one.
the transition line from the Kelly to wherever, I think it's to where the one goes back.
Okay.
Or from where it starts.
It'll be a whole
That
new,
sounds better.
whole
Okay.
new system. I'm okay with hiring Nick as our grant administrator. He's definitely proven to us that he can work hard for us.
Well, he's already got some for us, and he's already been working for free on some of it, so that's nice dedication.
We've done our due diligence as far as our requesting RFPs, going through all the stats. Does anybody feel a need to resubmit that? Or any other concerns at this point be that we only have one proposal?
I don't,
I don't know.
Martin?
the others were given the same opportunity.
Yeah, what's the percent?
Percent of
It's close to 10%.
the percentage of the grant?
Yeah.
Yeah, for doing both. The management, the grant administration, and environmental review.
He's been on this project though, and was aware of this project from the beginning, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's been working with us for over a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if
Agreed.
we start with someone new, then we're set back quite a ways.
That's true.
Because we have a deadline.
It's a statement that he's been working for free, it's just without current pay.
Without.
Current pay.
Okay.
Nice trick. It's at the back end.
So I
Is that
don't,
motion needed?
Yes.
I make a motion to obtain Ducati Consulting for this current water project.
Is there a
I'll
second?
second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All right. Passed unanimously to hire Ducati Consulting as our grant administrator and provide environmental review.
Is that the correct motion, Linda, or did you want?
Grant, yeah.
Grant administrator.
Yeah, it's a little over 8%, Martin.
Yeah, I just did it in my head.
Yeah, it's a little bit over 8%. Okay, any other business?
In the future, when we get these, can we have maybe some time to study it?
Well, that was the whole point. I gave it to you today so that you could take those home to study, to come back Tuesday, because it's on the agenda for Tuesday for you guys to vote on. But since there was just one, you guys decided to vote.
Oh, we'll still have a resolution to perform, but yeah.
No, there's no resolution.
There's no
We
resolution.
just,
No.
It's
There's a
done.
resolution for the water rates.
yeah,
Water rates, but not this.
Don't need to do that.
no.
I don't even know.
So we're gonna do the water rates now?
No, we were gonna do a resolution as far as the meter rates that we set up today. Put it
Okay,
in a resolution so we know what we did, so it's,
That's for Tuesday.
that'll be Tuesday. We did it, right.
We have a contract signed from them yet.
So we jump to Tuesday resolution for water rates. Okay.
I'll put the office copy to that in his proposal.
let's adjourn.
All right.
Yes, I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Meeting adjourned at 4:20.